السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Inshallah, today we'll be completing the final part of the 30th juz. And of course, we'll pay special attention to the final three chapters. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. Because of their importance, and because of these three chapters are repeated in a Muslim's life. So we'll try to go real quick over the first chapters and concentrating on the main points. Okay, first chapter, Humaza, وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. Okay, وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَهُ يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. What's a humaza and a lumaza? Two words which mean a person in general who belittles and mocks other people. Okay? He's a person who belittles other people. And Allah Azza wa Jal here, scholars have said the two words humaza and lumaza, it means all kinds of mocking, all kinds of, belittling people. Ibn Kathir mentioned one of them is used for belittling and mocking people with the tongue, and the other is with the action of the hands. So وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. This is, a threat, punishment to those people who are described as being humaza, lumaza. And subhanAllah, one of our scholars, Sheikh Nasif, who's an expert in the field of Arabic sciences, he said the word humaza and lumaza is in the form of fu'ala. And we will find this same form used again when describing hellfire. Fu'ala. And he said this form means this is an exaggerated form. He said that if a person who laughs a lot, we say dhahik. If a person who continues on laughing, we say dhahhak. If a person who cannot control himself from laughter, he's called dhuhaka, the same form, fu'ala. So here, humaza, lumaza, that person is a person who cannot control himself. He always belittles people. He always mocks people. It's not just, this is sometimes some of his actions. This is the way that he is. He always mocks people. He always belittles people. All types of mocking, all types of belittling people. Why does he mock? Why does he belittle? Look, in this case, يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. Again, here he thinks his wealth has made him immortal. So, for this person, this whole world is about wealth. A person who has the most wealth, he's the most important. Everyone else is nothing. This is how this person thinks. And why? Because يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَهُ. In this case, a person who, was running after wealth and obtaining wealth. And then, since his priority was wealth, what did he think? يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. He thinks that his wealth will make him immortal. He doesn't really think that. It doesn't mean that a person who is Allah is talking about, doesn't mean that he thinks he's not going to die. But what does it mean? He doesn't even think about death. Death doesn't even come to his mind. And this is the reality of many people. They're preoccupied with their dunya. They don't even think about the end. I mean, this is very common. If you ask anyone, what's your plan in the next 50 years? He will never mention death. He will say, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve. If you say 100 years, I think that he will not mention death also. We always have hope in this dunya, subhanallah. So, يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَهُ. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَلَّا لَيُنْبَذَنَّ فِي الْحُطَمَةِ. يُنْبَذَنَّ, you'll be thrown, again, حُطَمَةِ. Pay attention, حُطَمَةِ, same form, فُعَالَةِ. And حُطَمَةِ from تحطيم, something that crushes, something that breaks. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing hellfire as being حُطَمَةِ. Remember the form حُطَمَةِ? It's an exaggerated form to mean something that, this description, this quality in it, or is something, it's an exaggerated. Remember the person who I said, ضُحَكَ is a person who cannot control himself from laughter. Humaza, a person who cannot control himself, from mocking people. حُطَمَةِ Hellfire is described as being hutama, one who, like, it keeps on crushing. It's part of it. It keeps on crushing the bodies inside. So not only does it burn, not only does it torture, it crushes the bodies. Hutama, destroys them again and again and again. Continuous destruction to those who are in hellfire. Okay? So from this name we can understand more of what hellfire does. كلا لينبذن في الحطمة وما أدراك ما الحطمة. Hey, look at here the translation. It says crusher. It's much more than that. Okay, نار الله الموقدة. Okay, it's موقدة means it's already lit. But in this context, it is eternally lit. It's already lit. Does hellfire exist now? Yes or no? Does hellfire exist now? Yes or no? Yes? Hellfire exists now? Yes or no? Yes, maybe? Yes, it does exist. From the text of the Quran and Sunnah, أُعِدَّت. You hear the word أُعِدَّت, it is already prepared. Hellfire and paradise, they both exist now. Okay, they both exist. But on the day of judgment, they will be revealed. Right? That's the verses that we covered. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْحُطْمَةُ نَارُ اللَّهِ الْمُوقَدَةُ التي تطلع على الأفئدة. When you look at what the scholars have said here, تطلع على الأفئدة. الأفئدة are the hearts, your internal organs, the heart. تطلع على الأفئدة. They said the flame of hellfire is not like any other flame. It burns the inside and outside at the same time. So you have to understand that hellfire is not like the fire that we have here. Okay, it's not like anything that we see. It's not like anything that we can imagine. It is something much more greater, and Allah Azza wa Jal has created it the way that He did as punishment for those who opposed, and they will be deserving this punishment. Okay? So, التي تطلع على الأفئدة, it reaches their organs, it reaches their hearts. So they are burned inside out, the same time. Inside out. التي تطلع على الأفئدة إنها عليهم مؤصدة. Okay, they said that hellfire will be closed down upon them في عمد ممددة, in extended columns. Okay, of course there are many opinions. What does في عمد ممددة? They said these columns are the things that prevent those people from leaving hellfire, and some of them said these columns are the columns that they'll be punished with. Many opinions. Let's go to the next chapter, Surat Al-Fil. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. From the young shuyukh that we have here, who can tell me the story of Fil? Surat Al-Fil. Who knows? Young. You're too young. Yes. You know the story? What is it about? You know. Just try. La, Sheikh. This young Sheikh here. Yes. Yes. Tied the Kaaba, yeah? And then what happened? Did he succeed? That elephant, did he succeed? What happened? Yes. خلاص جزاك الله خير. What's your name? Sa'ad? جزاك الله خير يا شيخ Sa'ad. جزاك الله خير. Okay, as Sheikh Sa'ad has mentioned, this is the story of something that happened, of course, before the prophethood. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds the people of Quraysh about this story because He had this favor on them, that He protected them. And they know this, the people of Quraysh. And Allah is reminding them that who's the one who did this? It was Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what's interesting, look, something very interesting. Ibn Kathir mentioned, he said those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected, Allah protected the Kaaba. It's not because of the people of Quraysh. He said that because the people of Quraysh are even further away than Abraha and his people. Abraha and his people were people of the book. They had problems, but they were people of the book. Those were idol worshippers. Ibn Kathir has said those idol worshippers were farther away than the people of the book. But yet Allah has protected the Kaaba for the wisdom that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will be revealed from this people. And of course, He's protecting His Kaaba, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, have you not considered how did He deal with the people of the elephant? They said the elephant was named Mahmud and the person who commanded the army is Abraha, okay? And they planned, to destroy this Kaaba. Of course, what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي. They planned, they plotted, but they failed miserably, okay? And not only that, Allah Azza wa Jal, because what happened, how did they fail? They said, some of the narrations said that, of course this is, part of history, but Ibn Kathir has mentioned this. They said that they're going to tie the Kaaba with chains, and then tie these chains with a great elephant that they got from Yemen. It's this great elephant was named Mahmud. And the chains will be tied on that elephant for him to pull away the Kaaba, to destroy the Kaaba. So they said whenever he faced the Kaaba, he would just sit down. Whenever he'd face any other direction, he'd just stand up and walk quickly. So that was a problem. So Allah stopped him. Habasa habisul fil, as the Prophet Muhammad said. Okay, and after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, as Sheikh Sa'ad said, birds. Okay? وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيل. Ababil in flocks, in groups. Ababil. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. Okay, what's mentioned here, they said that every bird would carry 3 stones, okay, 2 with the claws and 1 with the beak. And here it's mentioned, فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. Okay, he made them like eaten straw. They were completely destroyed. But when you look at the narrations and history, what happened, the Ibn Kathir said there are different narrations. Some said that these small stones, they penetrated through their bodies and destroyed them. And other narrations, as Ibn Kathir mentioned, is that these stones, it's like they contain the disease. That some of them died in the battlefield, and some of them kept on dying all the way until they reached their place. And Abraha, as Ibn Kathir has mentioned, his limbs would fall away, limb by limb, because of that disease that he was struck with. His limbs would fall away, would fall apart, limb by limb. His hands would fall, then his legs, all the way until he reached. This is where his chest just collapsed, as they said. So what we care here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected his house. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected the Kaaba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has punished those who dared and crossed, the boundaries that was set. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. And this is a reminder for the people of Quraysh, because they saw this incident. Okay? They saw this incident. And when revelation came, it also shows that this messenger, he came with revelation, and he's a messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, and after that, the next chapter, لِإِلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ. Some said there's a connection between these 2 chapters. Here, look, when you look at the English translation, for the accustomed security of the Quraysh. This lam, they translated as for, li'ilaf. Ibn Kathir said, by ijma' of the Muslimin, these are 2 separate chapters, okay? So he said that this lam here, even though the meaning is similar, it is connected to the previous chapter, but it is separate. This is a separate chapter, and the one previous is a separate chapter because there's Bismillah in between, okay? So this is a separate chapter. لِإِلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ إِلَافِهِمْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now is talking about this chapter about 2 great favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed on the people of Quraysh. 2 great favors. What are they? What are the 2 favors mentioned in this chapter? Okay, here you're talking about the security. They were secure. They were protected. They had 2 caravans in the summer and the winter. Okay, that's one. What else? Huh? Yes, exactly. خوف and جوع. أطعمهم جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Yeah, 2 favors. So the provision that he used to provide them, he made the sustenance. And number 2, they had the security. Problems would occur all over the place, but Mecca was always secured. Mecca was always protected. Okay? And Allah is reminding them that why was Mecca protected? Why? It's not because of you people. It's not because they thought that they were something special about the people of Mecca. That's why Quraysh, they used to say, Quraysh, we're the top. We're the top of the tribes, But Allah is saying it's not about that. It's not because you people, it happened that you existed in this place and protected this house. No, it's not because of you. It's because Allah has favored you and given you this, so worship Him. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا هُ رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. The Lord of this house, okay? رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. Yeah. Okay. Now, next chapter. أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. Okay, this is the worst of the people. Disbelief, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Disbelieves in the hereafter. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ. Okay, that is the one who drives away the orphan. He does not care. This is something common, very common. Okay, does not care about the orphans. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ, drives away the orphan. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. Not only he does not spend on the poor, he does not encourage this, and he stops this from happening. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Here some scholars said, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Okay, so what does this mean? فَوَيْلٌ, again, it's a threat. To who? Those who pray? فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. It's not وَيْلٌ لِلتَّارِكِينَ الصَّلَاةِ. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. It is a threat to those who pray. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. But why? What did they do? Which type of musallin? الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Okay? Who are heedless of their prayer. Let's see, heedless here. Okay. عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. They're preoccupied from prayer. Scholars have said this includes many things. First of all, it includes those who don't pray. Because they're supposed to be a musalli, they're supposed to be people who pray, yet they do not pray. This is a punishment, a threat. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ. Why? Because they're preoccupied with dunya, again. Or it could be a person, this is a lot of scholars have said in the past, early Salaf. They said those who الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ, they leave prayer until the time exits, until this prayer exits, until the time ends, until this prayer time, and this is very common. And we're not talking about those people who have excuses. We're talking about people who deliberately leave prayer until the salah ends. We tell them at dhuhr time, pray dhuhr, pray, they say, okay, later. Asr time comes, they did not pray. They have no excuse. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Allah is threatening those who pray. Don't say, no, as long as I pray. And believe me, subhanAllah, I thought this was a joke. When I came, I thought this was a joke. Actually, this is something that many people do. They combine all the prayers from Fajr to Isha, and after Isha, they start praying Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr. I thought it was a joke. Then it became a reality. Many people started asking me the same question. So are you guys serious? You're praying Fajr, Dhuhr, after Isha? Yani you did not have any time from morning all the way to Isha? Subhanallah. And of course, it is that they did have time, but it's not a priority. And this is a problem. Actually, some scholars said, who said it's going to be accepted in the first place? They said one prayer, if you postpone it without an excuse, if you pray it other than its time, who says it's going to be accepted aslan? The famous example, as I mentioned in Maghrib, is those who, Fajr prayer, okay, they set their alarm clocks for work, 7 o'clock, and they wake up after sunrise, aslan, to pray. What are you doing? You deliberately, I'm not talking about those people who put the alarm clock and they took action, they put the effort in to wake up before Ishraq, but they couldn't. They're excused. But those who didn't even care in the first place, and they set their alarm clocks for work and not for salah. And it's a normal thing. Wallahi, this is something very serious, extremely serious. Some scholars have said that this is very dangerous on your faith. You know that some opinions said this person, by doing this deliberately, he leaves Islam. Because the Prophet Muhammad said, بين الكفر والشرك بين المؤمن والكفر والشرك ترك الصلاة. بين المؤمن والكفر والكفر الشرك ترك الصلاة. Leaving prayer, what's between a person, a Muslim, and disbelief and associating partners is what? Tark as-salah. So this is something very serious, okay? Leaving prayer is worse than doing all of the grave sins. Leaving prayer is worse than doing all of the grave sins. He said, well, I don't pray, but I don't do this. What does this matter? Leaving prayer is worse than all this aslan, to start with. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Another group, الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ. They pray, but what? They show off. They don't pray for Allah. These are the pure hypocrites. Here Allah is talking about pure hypocrites. Why do I say pure hypocrites? Because some people might have some riya, they might show off, but they're believers. This is a mistake. This is not, as they say, nifaq i'tiqadi. Okay, nifaq i'tiqadi, it's hypocrisy of the heart. Aslan, they don't believe in to start with. They just show people that they believe. But there's the other thing, that no, they believe in the heart, but some actions, they have some riya. This is a grave sin, a dangerous sin, and obviously this act of worship that they showed off, if they intended to do so from the start, it's not accepted aslan, and it becomes a minor shirk, which is a major sin. Major sin. Okay? End of the day, why do you show off? Who do you want approval from? Who? People who are weak like you, who can't give you anything, can't do anything. And if they say that you're a good Muslim, how will this affect you aslan? End of the day, it's the word of Allah that matters. And this, subhanAllah, reminds me, there's a hadith that people came to Medina. They said, they want the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Tell him that we are, they named themselves, we come from a famous tribe. Inna qawlana zayn wa dhammuna shayn. Inna madhuna zayn, inna madhana zayn wa dhammana shayn. If we praise someone, then he is truly praised. And if we talk badly about someone, then that person is worthless. So the Prophet ﷺ came out and said, who's saying these words? He said, we. He said, that is Allah. If Allah praises, the true praise is the praise of Allah, not your praise. Yeah? This is what I'm trying to say here. Who cares if the whole world is praising you and saying, MashaAllah, he's a righteous person? Allah, it's worthless. Because they don't know what's in your heart. And even if the whole world praises you and your heart was not pure, you're not going to get anything. It's what Allah, if Allah praises you and this whole world disapprove, then alhamdulillah, you have succeeded. It's Allah's approval that you seek and not the people's approval. Okay? وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. They said, yeah, al-ma'un, it's all good, all types of assistance. Okay, even lending the things that people use. So these people are the most evil. You know, as I mentioned, وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ, they stop all types of assistance. They don't do sadaqah. They don't even lend people. And by the way, there's a sunnah that many people seem to, not act on these days, is lending money. People say that, they give sadaqah, alhamdulillah, but lending money to people, okay, loaning people money, this is a sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and it's a great reward. I'm mentioning this because many people are not aware of this. If you lend someone, for example, 10,000 dirhams for 1 month, for example, you say, okay, after 1 month, you give back to me 10,000 dirhams. For every amount that you lend, it's as if that you have given half of it as sadaqah. So if you lend someone 10,000 dirhams, it will be as if you have given sadaqah of 5,000 dirhams. Yet you get your full money back. So it's a win-win. Imagine giving sadaqah 5,000. Who's able to give sadaqah 5,000? Yet you get all of your money back after 1 month. Okay, let's say that person was not able to give you the money back at 1 month. You have to wait. Every day that you wait, you'll be rewarded for that. Every single day that every day that passes after the end of the time, end of the limit, which is you're supposed to pay the money back, you'll be rewarded with 2 rewards, not 1. So it's subhanAllah, great act of worship. Because usually people, when giving sadaqah, they give small amounts. But when lending, they lend big amounts. Yet, subhanAllah, we have people who take advantage of this. But still, it's an act of worship. Yeah, don't miss out on this. If you have especially a brother who you know that he will be able to give you back, and he's in need, give him, ask him, khalas, I'll give you a loan, and pay it back after 1 month if you're able. If you're not able, 2 months, 3 months, whatever you're capable of. And write it down so that, it is secured, that, this is your right. Inshallah, you'll get a lot of reward for this. Surat Al-Kawthar, Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, inna shani'aka al-abtar. What is the Kawthar? What is the Kawthar? How? What would you say, Sheikh? How? Or Kawthar? Okay. Well, okay, the lake, yeah. River.
Fountain, water fountain.
What guesses now? All types of water. What is it? Fountains, lakes. Okay. Why is there a misconception here? Because you know the lake and the akhirah, the lake where the people will be drinking. Okay, the misconception is that the Kawthar is the lake. Okay, let me clear this up. A Kawthar, as the brother said, it's a river in paradise. It's a river in paradise. But it pours into this lake on the day of judgment, before, as you know, of the events that people will be drinking from this lake, the lake of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay? And it will have utensils, people will be drinking with it, okay? And this is where some of the people from this nation will come to drink, and then he will be stopped. Then the Prophet will say, these are from my nation. He say, you do not know what they have done after you. Yeah, this is the lake we're talking about. The river in paradise, Al-Kawthar, it pours to this lake. So Kawthar is the river in paradise. It pours down into this lake that people will be drinking, okay, in the day of judgment, before entering paradise. Does anyone know the description of this lake or the river? Because there is the same water. Yes? Sweeter than? MashaAllah. Okay, yes, sweeter than honey. What else? Best? Whiter than milk. Okay, inshallah. Yeah, these two came in one hadith. Yes, Jazakallah khair. What's your name? Riyadh? Rayyan? Jazakallah khair, ya Sheikh Rayyan. Barakallah fiqh. Jazakallah khair. Okay, two things he mentioned. He said, sweeter than honey. Yes, Sheikh? And what? Whiter than? Whiter than milk, yes. These two came in an authentic hadith, Sahih Bukhari. Whiter than milk and sweeter than honey. Okay, and the hadith also mentions the distance is between how wide it is. The lake, we're talking about the lake on the Day of Judgment. It's wider than the distance between Sana'a, Yemen, and Medina. So it's a big lake. It's a big lake for the whole nation. Okay, what about the number of utensils? The number of the stars. Adadu nujum. How many stars can you see? It's the same number of the utensils. So, and there's a misconception that we hear it a lot in Arabic. I don't know if it's common. You hear in the dua, some dua that people say that we ask Allah to make us drink from the hand of the Prophet. You hear this? From the hand, drinking from the hawd, from the hand of the Prophet Muhammad. Have you heard about this? It's common, yeah? Have you heard about this? No. Water coming from her, this is something else. But on the Day of Judgment, drinking from the lake, from the Prophet's hand. There is nothing, okay, in the Sunnah that the Prophet ﷺ will be giving anyone from his hand. You'll be drinking from the utensils, as it's mentioned, the cups, something to be drinking from. The number is more than the number of the stars, as the Prophet ﷺ said. So this is a misconception that is spread. And even when we were told this, I remember the Shaykh mentioning that there's no authentic hadith regarding this, okay? So this is regarding the Kawthar. And you will find that Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Al-Kawthar, if you translate it in Arabic, as Ibn Abbas said, al-khayru al-kathir. It's, good in general, abundance, good in abundance. So of this khair is this river. Okay, Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Look at this. Allah Azza wa Jalla is teaching us something very important. So here Allah is saying, imagine the happiness of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khalas, you will be given this river in paradise. Okay? فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Of course, there are many other things describing this river. It has, the banks are like hollow pearls, and it smells of musk. The mud under it is musk, and many things was described regarding the description of this river. But again, when the Prophet ﷺ heard this, of course, this is Allah saying that this will be given to you as a prize. So did Allah then say, be happy and celebrate? What are the next verses? Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Then what? فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ. You want to thank Allah for the blessings that He has given you? صَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ. Thank Him by worshipping Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something happened in your life, a blessing happened in your life. You want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say, well, Allah has given us so much good. How do we thank Him? By worshipping Him. Practice Islam. This is the way that you thank. And doing it sincerely, out of love, because Allah has given you this. You thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala with your heart. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. So, pray to your Lord and sacrifice also to Him alone. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ. Again, sincerity. وَانْحَرْ. Also, when you sacrifice for Allah alone. Okay? And then, إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. What happened is that, when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he had, you can name one of the Prophet's sons who died. Ibrahim? Okay. They died, yeah? They didn't stay for long. And the Prophet ﷺ was sad. And these people, these believers, they said, your mention will be lost when you die. Because what they had is that if a person has a lot of sons, khalas, he'll be remembered. Once he dies, their children, especially the boys, they'll be taking his name. He'll be still mentioned in this world. They said, when they mocked the Prophet, they say, when you die, your mention will be cut off. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna shani'aka, that person, who slandered you with this, shani'aka, huwa al-abtar. He's the one who will be cut off. And of course, when the Prophet Muhammad died, his mention is exalted aslan. Whenever Allah is mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ is mentioned. No one becomes a Muslim except mentioning the name of the Prophet. No adhan, no prayer except mentioning the Prophet. Your prayer is invalid unless you mention the name of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay. And you get rewarded the day and night of Jum'ah if you what? Send blessings to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Okay? وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. Okay, important chapter, Al-Kafirun. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Very interesting. Okay, so what happened is that the next chapter, some of the people of Quraysh, as Ibn Kathir has mentioned, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, look, you worship, our idols, our way for 1 year, and then we will worship, your religion, your Lord for 1 year. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this chapter. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Say, O disbelievers, okay, لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. I do not worship that which you worship, because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ worships Allah alone. وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. Okay, here, nor are you worshipping or worshippers of what I worship. Well, think about this. Did they not, the people of Quraysh, did they not worship Allah? Yes or no? Did they worship? Did they give any worship to Allah or no? They did. They did, yes. But what was the problem? The problem is, yes. You're scratching or you had an answer? So they were not, yes, the other big... So they were not worshipping Allah only. They were worshipping Allah with someone else. Yes, Sheikh? What's your name? Abdullah? Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Abdullah. Okay. So as Sheikh Abdullah said, they did worship Allah, but they associated partners with Him. They worshipped these idols, okay, the statues that they had. And of the worship, the tawaf that they used to do. So they did worship Allah. But here saying, وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. In reality, you did not worship. When you associate partners with Allah, in reality, you did not worship Allah. Because true worship, something that will benefit them, is something that is purely for Allah. Otherwise, it has no value, aslan. It has no value, it's worthless. And it's not just something that will not be accepted. It will be a cause of you entering hellfire. So it's no joke. So, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. Obviously, I do not worship that which you worship. وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. And you're not going to be worshipping, you're not worshipping my Lord when you worship these idols with them. But look at these next, verses. Here is where the scholars had many opinions. Allah then said, the Prophet ﷺ Allah then said, وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. Here Ibn Kathir, he mentioned a very interesting opinion. He said, وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ. I'm not going to even, nor will I be worshipping Allah in the way that you worship. So it's not about worshipping Allah best only. No, you worship Allah the way that Allah wants to be worshipped. The way that Allah wants to be worshipped. Someone might say, well, I'm sincere to Allah. I want to worship Allah alone. I will not associate partners with Him, but in my own way. In my own way. We say, what value is this? Again, it's not be accepted. You do not worship Allah according to your desires. You worship Allah, what? How Allah wants to be worshipped. Then what's the value of revelation? What's the value? You see, some people, they say, he's very spiritual. He has his own worship. Look, end of the day, he's following his desires. He's not following revelation. So what's the value of revelation? And why did Allah send messengers and books if everyone is going to be worshipping according to his desire? That's not the point. The point is to worship Allah as Allah wants to be worshipped. As Allah wants to be worshipped, okay? So here, وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدُ مَا عَبَدتُمْ, the opinion of Ibn Kathir, his personal opinion is this, that nor am I worshipping Allah the way that you worship. So I'm worshipping Allah, of course, according to revelation. And again, وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ, you will not be worshipping, of course, Allah as you worship. And then he said, وَلَكُمْ, for you is your religion, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَدِينَ. Okay, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَدِينَ. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ doesn't mean that, okay, so you have your way of worship and I have my way. No. Every false way of worship, as the Shafi'i said, they're just one millah, one group. There's no difference between people who worship different things. They're just one group. False religion, okay? False deities. Only one religion is accepted, which is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, the way that He wants to be worshipped, which is following the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. Okay, that's it. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَدِينَ. Okay, then إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْهُ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that is after Fath Makkah, okay, and people started entering Islam in groups and groups, which is the khalas, Islam is prevailing, and alhamdulillah, it's victory for Allah and His Messenger. Again, here, khalas, it's like your job is almost done. Your job is almost done, as Ibn Abbas has understood. So what did Allah command the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. So it's like, now busy yourself with worship, exalting Allah and asking for forgiveness. SubhanAllah, when you read this, you understand that the Prophet's life, his whole life was worship. His whole life was worship. It's not just things that he wanted to do. His whole life was worship. All these things, different things that he did, da'wah, when he got married, when he gave advice to the companions, when he did jihad, it's not out of desire. It was out of worship. All this is done. Take a break? No. Worship. Continue worshiping. وَاعْبُدْ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Until death. Your job is worship. And this should remind us that we should busy ourselves with worship. And you should never say to yourself, don't fall for this trap. And I'm guilty of this. The trap of those people, knowledge seekers, and those who are busy with doing great acts of worship. You do something great, the shaitan comes, now rest. Rest what? What is rest? Don't waste your time. Engage in other worship. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. And you're done with your normal da'wah, فَانْصَبْ. Stand in prayer. Okay, don't miss out on any opportunity to do prayer, to do worship. And I mentioned, sometimes, okay, you're weak, you need to die, you need to eat, you need to sleep. Have the intention that this is worship also. Because I want to get energized so that I can pray more. I want to eat. I want to take care of myself so that I'm more energized to worship. Have that intention. Invest in everything. In marriage, people, taking care of your children. What you do with your wife, you're rewarded for this if you had the proper intention. Giving her rights. Sitting with her, listening to what she has to say. I have more important things to say. No, you're not more important than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How was he with his wives sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He was always in worship? No. He'd sit with his wives, he'd talk with them, they have something to say, he'd listen. Okay? And he'll joke, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he'll smile. This is the balance that we want. This is the way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best way to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you claim otherwise, you're not following the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ. Worship and ask for forgiveness. إِنَّهُ كَانَ تَوَّابًا. Then, final chapter before we enter. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. Okay. ما أغنى عنه ما أكسب. What happens that when the Prophet ﷺ, when revelation started, when he went, to his people to tell them about the revelation and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to him, he stood on the mountain, on the hill, and he started calling them group by group, tribe by tribe. Then he said, if I warned you that there will be an army coming, would you believe me? He said, yes. He was the name as what? Sadiqul Amin, the honest and truthful. Then he told them that I'm a warner, warning you of a hereafter. So what did this man, Abu Lahab, say? He said, Ali hadha jama'tana tabban lak. So he cursed and he said, tabban lak. May you be ruined. So on that instance, revelation was revealed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. Okay, no, it's not him that will be ruined. You're the one who's going to be ruined. Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. Some narrations said that you're saying that I'm going to be in hellfire. I will avail myself. I will buy myself out with the wealth that I have. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب. Okay. سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب. His wife, okay, here, carrier of firewood. Ibn Kathir mentioned here many opinions because she aided him, in going and opposing the messenger. Ibn Kathir has said that on the day of judgment, she'll be aiding in the punishment of Abi Lahab. So, carrier of firewood, increasing the flames of Abu Lahab. So, as a punishment, she aided him in the dunya against the Prophet. In the hereafter, she'll be aiding and punishing him. This is what Ibn Kathir has mentioned. There are many other opinions. Okay. وَامْرَأَةُ حَمَدْ فِي جِيدِهَا حَبْلٌ مَسَدْ. Al-Jeed, the neck. حبل من مسد. Some said masad is iron, some said masad is flames. End of the day, habl, rope, min masad, in hellfire, that's going to be something to punish her. Okay, now, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Imran, how many minutes? No, 40? Okay, okay. Okay, these three chapters, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. First, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. How many times during our day do we recite it? How many sunnah? Come on. Tell me some of the sunnahs. When do we recite قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ?
Fajr and Maghrib 3 times. Fajr.
Okay, Fajr, Sunnah Fajr. Okay. Okay, Isha? Which Isha? Witr, okay, yeah. Okay, before sleeping we recite قُلْ وَحَدْ قُلْ فَلَقْ قُلْ بِالنَّاسِ. And Sunnah, Fajr Sunnah. Yes, after prayer we recite قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ فَلَقْ قُلْ بِالنَّاسِ. Many times we recite قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ فَلَقْ قُلْ بِالنَّاسِ. Why? You should ask yourself, why these three chapters? Why are they repeated? Why do we repeat them? Yes, it is protection. We have many people complaining about the evil eye, complaining about sihr, complaining about mental diseases they get. Okay, they say, well, do you recite قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ فَلَقْ قُلْ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ after every prayer, 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening? This is protection for you. Let's look at these meanings. Okay, first, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, of the virtues of this chapter is that it's worth a third of the Quran. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, أَيَعْجَزْ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَقْرَأْ فِي لَيْلَةٍ ثُلُثَ الْقُرْآنِ. Okay, said, is any of you able, or does he not care of reciting third of the Quran? The Companion said, who can recite third of the Quran? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ equals third of the Quran. Third of the Quran. Okay, so, and there's inshallah it's an authentic hadith. It's Hasan, inshallah it's a Hasan hadith. Reciting قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ 10 times will give you the reward of a palace in paradise. Inshallah it's authentic. Man qara قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ 10 times, okay, whoever recited قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ 10 times, Allah will build for him a palace in paradise. Okay, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say, He is Allah the One. Allah the One does not mean that He is one, as in single. Not only that, it means He is uniquely one. Okay, there is nothing like Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing is comparable to Him. Nothing is similar to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. Just like the other verse, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. There is nothing like Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the hearing and seeing. Allahu Samad. As-Samad, one that come sit here and teach. Yes? Yes, Zakallah, mashallah, mashallah, barakallah. Yes. I was going to say the same thing, Tara. I didn't get this from you. Zakallah. Yeah, Samad is one that all creation depend on. As-Samad, everything. All creation depends on Him, and He is self-sufficient. He needs no one. Okay? So, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. Okay? لم يلد ولم يولد. He is eternal subhanahu wa ta'ala. No start. He begets not, nor was He begotten. لم يلد ولم يولد. Just like the names الأول والآخر. Okay? Nothing is before Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and nothing is after Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's eternal subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. Again, nothing is equal or comparable to Him. When you recite this chapter, okay, it reminds you to depend on Him alone. You're saying to yourself, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. You tried trusting in that person. You tried trusting in that other person. You worked on that cause. You worked on this other cause. Nothing helped. So usually when a person, tries more than one way to solve his problem, he loses hope. But here, when you recite this verse, the first thing, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Remember, hey, nothing is like Allah. It's not like you've tried everything and Allah is similar. No, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. It reminds you that Allah is different than anything that you have tried. Seeking Allah and asking aid from Allah is nothing like nothing else. Allah, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Yet Allah also is Allahu Samad, the one that everyone depends on. So what's stopping you from depending on Allah and calling on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Allah is saying Allahu Samad. So why do you leave Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and run and chase all these other causes? At the end of the day, they'll go back to Allah. If Allah does not will, it will not happen. So you know what? Take the shortcut, go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And remember that Allahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, nothing is equal to Him, wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. So your heart, it depends on Allah. You seek aid in Allah. You depend on Allah alone. Okay? And remember, it refreshes your heart that, nothing is like Allah. Nothing is comparable to Allah. And end of the day, it's Allah's command. If I want this to happen, if Allah wills, it will happen. If Allah does not, it will not happen. It's Allah's decision. And this other chapters here, protection. You start both chapters by saying, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. I seek refuge. Okay, let's go over قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. I seek refuge. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. Lord, falaq, daybreak. Okay. So why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say here daybreak? قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. Rabb al-Falaq, Lord of daybreak, He was the one who controls. Remember, daybreak it's not like, when we talk about daybreak here, we say that, it's when the sun rises but these simple things, when you look at the reality of it, it's something much more complicated. Who controls the sun? Who controls the earth? And how does this occur? It occurs with It's with Allah's permission. So Allah is the Lord controller, and He's the one who moves it as He will. So you're seeking refuge from the one who controls this whole world. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ Seeking refuge in Allah from what? من شر ما خلق. From the evil of that which He created. Did Allah create evil? The verse is in front of you. شر ما خلق. Why are you afraid? Is the shaitan not evil? Was the shaitan created or not created? Created. Yes? Are you afraid? Oh, afraid? No. No, it's... Allah Azza wa Jal has created this. Say, okay, why did Allah create this? Again, for a cause. According to His wisdom, as a test. As a test. So here Allah Azza wa Jal, the one who created, of His creation, He created evil as a test, but then He asked you to seek refuge. You seek refuge in Allah, the one who created it. Yeah? So, min sharri ma khalaq. So you seek refuge in Allah, the one who controls everything from the evil of what He has created, from which He created, okay? From that which He created. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ. Here they said that it's the night when it spreads, when it's covered, when darkness spreads, because they said usually this is where evil occurs. Yeah? من شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد. Naffathat, the evil spirits, because they said it's not just, it's witchcraft in general. The evil of the witchcrafts when they blow in the knots. How do they do the source? How do they do the sihr? They tie knots, yeah? They tie knots and they recite things, or they use papers and then they have to tie things. These are the knots and they blow into them. So you're asking refuge in Allah from this evil. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِن شَرِّ, the most common thing, حاسد إذا حسد. SubhanAllah. Hasad, is it haram? Of course. Come on. It's haram, yeah? Common knowledge, yeah. Hasad is haram. It's a major sin. It's a major sin. But why is it such a big deal? Why is hasad such a big deal? When you envy someone, you guys don't envy, inshallah. But when a person envies another Muslim, yes, because you wish that that thing that Allah Azza wa Jal has given that person is removed. End of the day, you're judging Allah. It's like you say, this person does not deserve this. I'm the one who deserves this. This is very evil. This is very bad. Because it's very serious. When you say hasad is such a big deal, because you wish that that favor, that blessing that Allah Azza has given him is removed. End of the day, Allah decided that that person is given this blessing and you're not given according to His wisdom. You want that same thing, ask it from Allah. Raise your hands and ask Allah. Do not have this envy. Bil'aks, we are taught in the Sunnah to say, MashaAllah. MashaAllah. What does MashaAllah mean? Whatever Allah wills. It means, khalas, I will not, interfere. Whatever Allah has given him, khalas, MashaAllah. Whatever Allah wills, I will submit. I will not interfere. I will not have any envy. Okay, MashaAllah. But the Sunnah is to say, Barakallah. Not only do you say that, khalas, I don't, I have nothing to do with this, I will not interfere. No. You want for him what's even better. You say, Barakallah, may Allah bless this even more. SubhanAllah, you want the same. And your heart is saying, I want this more than... You say, La. But may Allah bless you with even more than this. And then you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the same thing. Because the one who gave him, isn't He able to give you? Allah, He already gave that person. And He's the one that you worship. He's the one that you call on to. Khalas, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he described this as being a disease. Okay? The disease of the past nations, okay, before you is creeping towards you. This is an authentic hadith. And he said, it's envy and hatred. It is the haliqah. The haliqah, okay? Haliqah is what? One that shaves. It said it shaves one's religion. Hasad, it burns your good deeds. It shaves your good deeds. It burns your good deeds, subhanAllah. This is a problem. Because if you're a person who has some hasad in his heart, yes. ما هو هذا؟ هو الاعتراض. جزاك الله خير. It shaves your good deeds. It burns away your good deeds. And this is something, very serious. What was the point that I wanted to make? Okay, so we said that hasad is a major sin and it burns out your good deeds. When a person does hasad, that's why it's not just any major sin. It's a very serious. Okay, this is the point. If you find yourself, if you have some hasad, this means you have a diseased heart. You have a disease. There's a problem with your heart. Do not take this lightly. Problems with the limbs, something much easier to deal with. Problem with the heart, something very difficult. If it continues, it will grow to something worse. If you have a problem with your heart, hey, stop. Do istighfar, repent, do worship, recite the Quran, cry. Because if it gets into the heart, it's a problem. Especially, that's why they have a general rule that diseases of the heart, the sins of the heart are worse than the sins of the limbs. They're harder to deal with. They're harder to deal with. All of these things are hasad. And then again, you seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these things, and then قُلْ رَبِّ النَّاسِ, you seek refuge in رَبِّ النَّاسِ, the Lord of mankind, Malik al-Nas, King of mankind, the ruler who owns Aslan, who owns us. Malik al-Nas, Ilah al-Nas, the one that you worship. Remember, Ilah al-Nas, the one that you're supposed to worship alone. So you're seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your ruler, your king, the one who owns you, and the one you're supposed to worship. Ilah al-Nas. From what? Min sharri al-waswas al-khannas. From the evil of al-waswas al-khannas, evil of the whisperer. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. Where does he whisper? In the hearts of mankind. من الجنة والناس. So is the shaitan, what is the shaitan aslan? What is he? Is he? It's jinn. Okay, it is jinn. But Allah says he من الجنة والناس. So we have some shaitan from mankind, and this is the problem. Shaitan is not just from the jinn. We might have worse shayateen, worse devils who are from mankind. And they even whisper worse than the shaitan. They will give you the worst ideas. They whisper to you things that are even worse, and you seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. It just erases all bad opinion and puts good opinion in your heart of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To give it a try. Open your heart to Allah. Okay, seek Allah. Nothing is like Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter what you have tried, no matter what they have told you, you open your heart to Allah. And then you protect yourself. You seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from all evil. Look, in general, any evil, min sharri ma khalaq, this includes all evil. It doesn't matter what your problem is, chances are it's part of this evil. So when you recite this chapter and you remember this, that you're seeking refuge in Allah from all evil, this will have an effect. You might not see it, it will have an effect. You might recite this and get something bad might happen, but if you did not recite this, it would have been worse. It would have been worse. Okay? And then قُلْ رَبِّ النَّاسِ, again, seeking refuge. So this is, you're doubling your protection, especially if you're reciting it 3 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening, after every obligatory prayer. You're just protecting yourself from sins, you're protecting yourself. So I'm amazed by those people who are complaining that they are dealing with some sins and they can't get over them, yet they do not ask protection. Who's going to whisper to you to do sins? The shaitan. Seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from all this evil, the evil eye. And people they come and say, maybe my son, someone has given him the evil eye, someone has done hasad. Okay, seek refuge in Allah and teach him. They're 7, 8, teach them to recite these chapters. And when you teach them, this will be in your good deeds. No matter how many times they keep on doing this, you're the one who taught them, it will be in your scale of good deeds. And then if they grow up and they teach their children, alhamdulillah, it's still in your scale of good deeds. So take advantage of these things, okay? And with this, inshallah, we will end. Inshallah, next week we'll be starting Juz' Tabarak, bi'idhnillah, from Tabarak al-Biyadi al-Mulk, Surat Al-Mulk. And inshallah, next week we'll be sending some voice notes or some clips in the group as a revision, main points of every chapter. Okay, main points of every chapter. Okay, Jazakumullah khair. If you're not registered, please register so that you can get the WhatsApp updates. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير.